You know, once in a while a movie comes along and you're just like, I'm so glad I have a movie channel to promote this thing. This is one of them. Hello everybody and welcome to my review of Bad Times at the El Royale, a movie that I've been very intrigued to see and wasn't entirely sure which way it was going to go, but well, let's get into that in a minute. Before I do, though, I want to give a big thank you to Billsy and everybody at Radio Metro 105.7. You guys are absolutely awesome for putting on this screening. And if you're a local Gold Coaster and you want to listen to some decent music on your drive to work, or if you want to drown out the kids or whatever you need to do, it has been scientifically proven that Radio Metro is the best radio station on the Gold Coast. Okay, when I say scientifically proven, I made that part up. But seriously, there's such an amazing bunch of people constantly putting on movie screenings and all sorts of events around the Gold Coast. And yeah, I'm just really happy that they sent me to this movie because, oh god, it is so brilliant. So Bad Times at the El Royale was written and directed by Drew Goddard, the man responsible for, well, previously he directed Cabin in the Woods. He's also written movies like Cloverfield, The Martian. The guy's done a whole bunch of TV work, including Buffy and Alias. So he has quite a good bunch of credits behind him. And when the trailers for this movie came out, it had me really intrigued because they showed you just enough that you wanted to see what was going on, but didn't give away anything. I am really happy to say that the marketing campaign for this movie was absolutely top class. They gave away none of the surprises in this film, of which there are many. So the movie is set in 1969 and it revolves around a bunch of characters, all strangers to each other, whose stories all end up at this little roadside hotel called the El Royale. Each one of the, well, most of the characters have a secret that they're hiding. They have a reason why they need to be there. And the interaction between all of them is absolutely fascinating. This film goes for nearly 2.5 hours, but it did not feel like it went that long. In a way, the film is almost like a Quentin Tarantino movie that he didn't make. In terms of just, there's some great dialogue in the film. Like, you really find out so much about these characters' backstories. The characters are all so well fleshed out, but it's also a little bit non-linear. There's a lot of it told in flashbacks, but it's the intrigue in this film that just really keeps you riveted. Every scene just gives you a little bit more information as to what's going on and who these people are and all the secrets behind the story, and it's just enough to make you want to progress to the next scene. So in terms of this amazing cast, you got Jeff Bridges as a guy named Father Daniel Flynn, which I thought was kind of cool, being that his character in the Tron films was also called Flynn. But I mean, like, you know, this guy, he's just such an amazing actor, and he was no exception in this film. And again, there were just so many layers to his character. We got Cynthia Erivo, who I hadn't really seen before, as a singer named Darlene Sweet. And yeah, wow, she obviously did all her own singing in the film, and she is brilliant. And for those who have been following my channel, you know how much I hate Dakota Johnson, mainly because of those god-awful 50 Shades films. And yeah, when she was in this film, I was kind of like, oh, okay, I'll just grit my teeth and bear it. But here's the funny thing. She played that same deadpan, stoic person with one facial expression that I can't stand. But it actually worked in the terms of this film because her character had a very troubled past, and you didn't really know too much about her, and it actually added to the character. So that was actually not a bad bit of casting. John Hamm was a vacuum cleaner salesman named Seymour Sullivan, or is he? A vacuum cleaner salesman. He was Seymour Sullivan. Again, you know, this character, like, there was just so many layers to him, and, you know, it's like this little onion that as you peel it away, you know, and you get to the center, it's just, well, I don't know if the middle of an onion is actually quite as intriguing as this film, and this film didn't make me cry. I've just gone in a completely different direction. But the two standouts for me in this film were Kaylee Spaney, who was last seen in Pacific Rim Uprising, and she was one of my favorite parts of that film. I thought she gave such a brilliant performance in that movie, and it was one of the reasons I liked it so much. And my God, she was no different in this film. She played this psychotic little hell kitten. Again, she came from a troubled past. She was Dakota Johnson's character's sister, and yeah, there was just, this weirdness to her. And the performance was an absolute knockout. She was so believable as this little psycho, and yeah, she was kind of scary in a lot of ways, but at the same time sympathetic. And the other one that I absolutely loved was Lewis Pullman, who has got to be the son of Bill Pullman because he looks identical to the guy. He played a character named Miles, who was the concierge in the hotel, and wow, his performance was amazing. And not only that, his character was one of the best written in the film. If you're talking about layers to a character, my god, this guy had a lot. His performance was intriguing, it was heart-wrenching, it was just absolutely captivating. On an interesting side note, when I first saw this trailer, I actually thought Lewis Pullman was Tom Holland, like at very first glance. And I was just reading tonight that apparently Tom Holland had been offered a role in this film, so I'm guessing that might have been the role that was meant to go to him, but it's kind of funny that they got someone who looked like Tom Holland. The one person in this film who I thought, like, he was good, but I just thought he was a bit miscast, was Chris Hemsworth. Now, it's hard to get into it in a way because I don't want to reveal too much about his character, because that was such a great surprise, but I just felt that, like, he was kind of the villain of the piece, but I just felt, and look, maybe it was because we go in knowing that Chris Hemsworth is such a nice, charismatic guy. I kind of felt maybe someone else who had a little bit of madness in their eyes should have been playing that character. But look, that being said, with what he was given, like, he did a great job. Yeah, and the ladies are going to love it because he spends most of the film without a shirt on or with a shirt open. So there you go. Another thing I absolutely loved about this film was the cinematography. From the opening scene, like the lighting and everything just looked incredible. And there was so many trick shots and like trick photography in this film, and a lot of continuous takes, like really long takes that by the time you're halfway through it, you're kind of like, oh my god, wow, they haven't cut yet. So yeah, that was quite mesmerizing. Also, the production design. I mean, I'm a big fan of any time they can recreate an era, and yeah, this film looked incredible. And not only the whole 60s vibe at the hotel, but a lot of the flashback scenes. Like there was one involving a war, and it only went for a couple of minutes, but my god, the budget behind just that couple of minutes must have been extraordinary. I thought the music was great, like it had a really cracking 60s soundtrack. Also, the score by Michael Giacchino really added to the visuals, and especially all the tension in the film, because my god, like it does start off a little bit slow, but it's still kind of intriguing. Like the dialogue is cracking and the characters, you want to know who they are. But by about the second act, like, oh man, this film just has you on the edge of your seat. And I gotta say, there was a couple of jump scares in this film that got to me way more than any horror film I've seen in recent years. And I gotta hand it to Drew Goddard. This film, my god, he directed the hell out of it. This couldn't have been an easy film to make, and he has done such a great job of not only crafting a really intriguing, multi-layered story, but getting the best performances out of these people that he possibly could have. And for writing a story that, explored all these themes of duality, and also like what makes us do what we want to do in life, like what gives us a drive, and whether it's right or wrong. And also a lot of themes of redemption and stuff, like, and going back to the duality, it's not just the characters in the film, but the actual hotel itself. Like there's this massive red line down the middle of it, because one side is set in California, one side is in Nevada, and yeah, they did a lot with this whole duality thing in the film. It was really well done. But I think the most important thing about this film is that, in today's world of cinema, we've got so many reboots and sequels and comic book movies and all these sort of things. And I mean, there's a lot of great movies out there, don't get me wrong, but this time around, we've been given something that is just so unique and refreshingly original, and that is something to be praised. It's hard to come by an original idea these days, let alone something this well executed. So, yeah, Good on them. So guys, make sure you go and see this amazing film. There's been so many people I've spoken to who have never even heard of it, and that's such a shame. And like I said, I'm so glad I have this channel so I can promote this film, because it is easily going to be one of my most favorite films of this year. I'm going to buy it on day one when it comes out on Blu-ray, and I am going to give Bad Times at the El Royale a 9.5 out of 10. This film was so close to perfect. It was just little nitpicky things that brought it down for me. Like, you know, Chris Hemsworth being miscast. But again, you know, his performance was so good. And just some of the scenes probably went maybe a little bit long. But again, it's the kind of thing when you look back and you think, well, would I have wanted it trimmed any? I don't know. But yeah, it just wasn't quite perfect. But I'm going to throw it over to you guys. If you have seen Bad Times at the El Royale, and I really hope you have, I'd love to know what you guys thought of it. I mean, I haven't seen a single review for this film yet, so for all I know, I could be absolutely gushing and singing its praises and everyone's gonna just go, huh? But I don't care. I loved it, and so yeah, like I said, I hope you guys did too. And not only that, my next video is my 250th video on my channel, so I'm gonna be doing a Q&A video. I've already been collecting a whole bunch of questions across social media, so if you guys have any questions for me, please drop them down below. So fire away in the comments if you've got Q&A questions, or if you want to let me know what you thought of Bad Times at the El Royale. Drop me some comments either here or on Facebook or Twitter. All the social media links are in the description below, because I like to talk about movies and I would love to talk about movies with you. Catch you next time.
Click subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest movie reviews. Skynet will be taking over any day now, so what have you got to lose? Nyah.